Long live the ex-combatants, women of South Africa. Long live.
Long live.
Malubongwe Kamala Makosikasi Malubongwe. Program Director, Honorable Minister of Defense and Military Veterans, the Vietnam Ambassador and women war veterans from Vietnam, the Algerian Ambassador, the Zambian representatives, the Palestinian representatives, the Cuban Embassy, the South African women ex-combatants. We want to thank the Department of Defense and Military Veterans under the leadership of Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula and the South African National Military Veterans Association and the DMV for making this day a success. Today, on the occasion of the International Women's Day, we are proud to witness a proud moment in our history. We witnessed the first national convergence of the former female combatants. Comrades, in your own right, you are equal partners in the struggle that brought down apartheid and ushered in a democracy that our country has enjoyed for the past 20 years.
On May 11 of 1994, the Presidents Nelson Mandela and Fidel Castro signed in Pretoria diplomatic relations between South Africa and Cuba. Within hours of the inauguration of the first free and democratic government of South Africa, and as one of the first foreign policy action of the newly liberated nation. The Cuban Revolution was an early supporter of the struggle against segregation, abuse, and repression in South Africa. South Africans received academic and military training in Cuba as early as 1962, as well as a medical training. Children and youth of this country enjoyed schooling and support in Cuba, as did thousands of sons and daughters of Africa, Cuba's overall solidarity and commitment with this continent. In this battlefield of Angola, hundreds of thousands of Cubans committed their sacrifice for the liberation of Africa and in support for the struggle against apartheid. South Africans and Cubans have a strong reason to celebrate with pride and satisfaction the 20 years of the formal diplomatic relation and a shared history of the solidarity and cooperation. Amandla! Avoid you! Amandla! Long live the relationship between Cuba and South Africa. Thank you.
The history between South Africa and Algeria for us is very difficult to be distinguished, to be separated, because we as Algerians, we consider that the struggle of South Africa was our struggle. And from the beginning, Algeria stands with the South African people, and my sister Riban just remind that our great brother, the great son of Africa, the late Madiba, has been tried first military in Algeria. The Algerian Revolution welcomed Mandela and other African leaders in their family, because we consider as Algeria that we as Africans, we are one and the same family. And when we are facing difficulties, we should be together. I am pleased to say that only your presence here, especially the women, and I would like also to greet the progress made by the sisterly country of South Africa for the benefit of women, and symbolized and represented by Her Excellency Mapiso Kakule, who is Minister of Defense and Military Veterans. It is not very, it doesn't happen often, this situation that a woman is the Minister of Defense.
I want to greet you again, but maybe I should. Mulibwanji. All right. I'm very honored standing here to represent my country, Zambia, to speak on this wonderful occasion, celebrating the Women's Day and the role that the women have played in the struggle. In Zambia, women played a leading role during the liberation struggle for political independence and freedom from the British colonialism and imperialism. For example, we had a woman, very renowned freedom fighter. Her name was Mama Julia Chikamonika. When we had enough of colonialism, Mama Julia Chikamonika, I will also recognize the several women that stood by their husbands during the struggle. Mrs. Betty Kaunda the late, Mrs. Mary Fulano the late, Mrs. Chibesa Kankasa, known as Mama Chibesa Kankasa, served as a minister in the UNIP government, and so did Miss Mary Fulano, to mention but a few. They joined hands with male folk to fight the oppressors. They were indeed a source of hope and inspiration to men. Living with our brothers and sisters in struggle within our neighborhoods had its own consequences of constant threats of attack from the oppressive groups, but it also provided an opportunity for us to forge historic bonds that are still reflected in our relations with not only South Africa, but the SADC region as a whole.
First of all, thank you to the Department of Defense and Military Veterans in the Republic of South Africa for holding this seminar today on the occasion of the International Women's Day. The role of women in society has often been undervalued and not given the recognition it deserves. So I am glad that seminars such as this one are held to publicly bring this issue to the forefront, while also celebrating the role and importance of women in society. Nonetheless, despite their importance, they have had to push for equal rights and recognition, not only in South Africa but internationally. Back in my homeland, Palestine, women play primary caretaker of both their families and their homes. Many a time such women are also expected to earn an income to supplement their husband's income or even to provide for their families as the primary or even sole breadwinner. These women also describe their attempts as a form of peaceful resistance against the Israeli occupation by keeping the Palestinian identity alive through the circulation of a traditional Palestinian food and clothes, as well as by refusing to let the occupation break them down. Times are tough, but our Palestinian women are tougher.
It is a particular honor and privilege for our delegation from Vietnam to have been invited by Her Excellency Minister and the Department of Military Veterans and SAMVA to attend and address this workshop to honor women, especially the women military veterans, on this International Women's Day. We would also like to take these opportunities to extend our heartfelt congratulations to the government and the people of South Africa on the occasions of the 20th anniversary of democracy. I believe both Vietnam and South Africa have many good stories that we can learn from each other. The victory of, over the French at Dien Phu is said to have involved hundreds of thousands of women, and many of Vietnamese community combatant was female. Distinguished delegate, after the war, the Vietnamese women veterans also played the active roles, inspiring change in all parts of life, making contribution to social economic development, gender equalities and empowerment to the other progress for themselves and for the communities and the entire countries. In our current national construction development, many women veterans have now been exemplary at work and outstanding at home. These women have made quick, remarkable contribution to the prosperities of the countries. They have made active contribution to prevent inflation, maintain macroeconomic stabilities in order to respond to the impacts and consequences of the global financial crisis.
What makes me very proud this morning is to see military veterans from both the statutory and the non-statutory forces. That for me, who are women, that for me is a cherry on top. Comrades and friends, representatives of the media, let me start by saying Happy International Women's Day. Allow me, before I start, to borrow from an old Chinese saying that goes like this, and I quote, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step," close quote. This is indeed a giant step in the direction of ensuring that women, especially women veterans do finally take their rightful center place in our society. We are gathered here today to celebrate as women military veterans for the first time in our history, in our country, one of the most important days in the calendar of humanity, the International Women's Day. We are here as both statutory and non-statutory ex-combatants. This, to me, epitomizes the democratic South Africa we cherished, the democratic South Africa we envisaged when we were fighting to free our people. We will live together because South Africa belongs to all who live in it. So this, to me, is a very special moment. This is the first time that indeed we are gathered in this manner, both as women military veterans here and military veterans from abroad. And we've come together to celebrate this important event so that we can share our diverse and rich experiences, and perhaps most importantly, to look at ways and means within which we together can inspire change in both our countries and the world. Secondly, this seminar takes place against the backdrop of our country celebrating 20 years of freedom and democracy, to which we as military veterans, especially those who were from the liberation movements, as well as our friends from all parts of the world, played a significant part in bringing it about.